Hi, this is George Alger, and welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today we're going to be talking about life after work, and our guest is David Comden, who is a former publisher and editor. Welcome, David, and what does this mean, life after work?
Hi, George. I thought the topic would be interesting to talk about after a career. What do people do? I did some research a while back, and I found that there's statistics that show that people who retire at the age of 55 or earlier are 89% more likely to die within 10 years
Wow.
as people who continue working until 65. So that tells me that, and I think we've all heard about the once someone retires, they, some people go into a steady decline because they don't know what to do with themselves. And so that's the topic today.
Yeah, very cool. So what kind of tips do you have for the viewers?
Well, first of all, there's a couple concepts that I've learned through the years that I wanted to share. One is called Ikigai. The people of Okinawa, Japan, are among the longest living people in the world, with more centurions than just about any other culture. And one of the reasons why is because they have this concept of Ikigai, which is a reason to get up in the morning. When you have a purpose, you're much more likely to thrive and be focused on the future and want to live. So the concept of Ikigai is the convergence of what you love to do, what you're good at, what the world needs, and in some cases, what you can get paid to do. Now, that's good advice for people with careers too. Do what you love to do. But a lot of times people get wrapped up in careers whereby their whole persona and their id is associated with that. And when they let go of that, they don't know what to do. They're untethered. And so the concept of Ikigai is to help you figure out after your work career what things you love to do or would like to try and spend time doing so that you can endeavor to do that and feel complete by the things that you're doing.
Very good. Now, David, you've just recently, or a few years ago, retired from a 35-year career in publishing. Perhaps you could give us, example of how you've applied Ikigai in your own life.
Okay. I had a career where basically the work was going out and exploring the world, looking for story ideas, meeting with different kinds of business people. So I was exposed to a lot of different things, which made it easier for me to understand which areas I was interested in and which I didn't have an interest in. So I've converted that into what I'm presently doing, which is I want to give back to the community, to the people in the community, to people who are working to improve the environmental issues and animals. That sounds like a big ball of wax, but those are the three areas: helping people themselves, helping the community, and the environment. Helping people themselves. For instance, I'm a big brother to a 13-year-old boy, and it's so rewarding. I've had children, and I miss that age, and so this gives me the opportunity to work with someone who hasn't experienced a great many things and is wide open to the opportunities. And he's receiving benefit because he's got someone that he can, do things with and talk to and ask questions of. So that's very rewarding. With the community, I work with Food Share, compiling boxes and giving the boxes out at some of the service centers. There's such a critical need for food worldwide, but even in our county, that it's very rewarding working with people who are doing the same thing I'm doing, but also when the families come in and they look at you in the eye and they say, "Thank you very much. We really appreciate this." That's very rewarding. When it comes to the environment, I'm working with the Land Trust, and I've become a beekeeper because I want to understand more about the natural world and how all of these things work. I've always been inquisitive, and all of these types of things kind of add value to my life as I learn more. Every day is a learning experience. Giving to the community, working with the Downtown Ventura Partnership, and with SCORE, which is the Volunteer Service Corps of Retired Executives. I get to talk with business people that would like free consultation on how to operate better or how to get a business started. All of these things, and it's like spokes on a wheel, George. If you do a lot of different things, it keeps you active, it keeps you interested, and it gives you energy.
Very cool. Now, just as a cautionary note, you're particularly active, all right? Would you suggest that others who are retiring might want to aspire to that level of activity?
I'm a person that doesn't need coffee in the morning, so everybody goes at their own pace. But if you chose one or two things that you could get deeper into, that might work for some people. Other people like the idea of having a lot of different things. On Monday they do A, on Tuesday they do B. So it's personality driven, I think.
Okay. Now, so you have really dived into a lot of community type activities, and you've also taken on this sort of new personal hobby or challenge of beekeeping. And of course, I've heard of people over the years who are looking forward to getting into a hobby that they may have already had, but never have been able to put enough time into it. So would you say that even pursuing something like woodworking or something else that a person is interested in would suffice to satisfy this ikigai? Did I say that right? Ikigai?
Ikigai. Just
Okay.
think of it as a icky guy.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Everybody's level of interest and desire for completion is different. I know a lot of people that are excellent woodworkers, and it provides them a focused activity and a sense of accomplishment when they're done with things. That works perfectly well. There's another thing I wanted to mention. There's a great book out there written in 1946 by a doctor named Viktor Frankl called Man's Search for Meaning. And I think all of us go through at some point in life, why am I here? What is my purpose? And he wrote this book after coming out of a concentration camp. And he developed this theory called logotherapy, which helps people overcome some of their past histories that may be unsavory. But what I found fascinating about the book, George, was he could tell as a psychiatrist in a concentration camp when new people would come in to, to live with the others, he could tell by their demeanor and their attitude whether they were going to be able to survive the concentration camp experience.
Wow.
And it didn't matter whether you were big and had big muscles, it was all mental. And so I found it fascinating because it really is mentally driven. When I was in publishing, we did a story called The Zen of Golf. Because I sat next to a Buddhist and I asked him, what is your day job? And he said, well, I consult with golfers on their mental attitude. And I go, that sounds fascinating. And I asked him, how much of golf is mental? And he said, 100%.
Wow.
And so I went on the course and I watched him work with a young man, and the fellow got up to, he was doing like a 40-yard putt, 40-foot putt. And before the kid putt, he said, oh, excuse me. And he went up and shook his hand. Congratulations. And he goes, what for? You're going to hit a great ball. And that kid drained it.
Wow.
And I looked at both of them like, did we just witness something very unusual? We did. And so I believe him that it's 100% mental. So anyway, getting back to this, a lot of people, I ask, what are you going to do? And they say, well, I'm going to travel and I'm going to do a lot of reading. And if that brings them joy and fulfillment, then that's the best thing they can do. But other people have other desires. And for me, I like to do things that I haven't done before. And through my career, I worked so darn hard, I didn't make time. It's not that I didn't have time, but I didn't make time for the things I wanted to explore. Well, now is that time.
Well done. David, we're just about out of time here. I wonder if you have a summating message for the viewers.
I would just say that begin thinking about the next chapter of your life now, because it comes very quickly. And don't be a person who will tend to figure it out later on. Look for and aspire to the next phase, because frankly, a career is fantastic. Working is necessary and very fulfilling. But there are other things in life, and they're not necessarily tied to money. They're tied to self-satisfaction or giving back to the community. And that's what I encourage people to do.
Very well said. Thank you very much, David.
Okay.
I'm going to wrap things up here. This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.